All right, well, now we're back. Hey everybody, my name's Catherine. I use she, they pronouns, and I sew in a school bus, and sometimes my internet goes down, apparently. And I was just talking to myself. Just fine. It's fine. Decent company. But yeah, we're in the middle of a stream. Hello. I'm hiding here behind a sewing machine. And we're working on Little Sprout's goose coat. But yeah, apparently I went down and just talked to myself for a bit. That's cool. Hopefully everyone will come on back. I know that is a total pain when these things happen, so my apologies for the technical difficulties. But yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm just making a bobbin here real quick. Hopefully y'all can find your way back. Because I just meant to go BRB, not forever. Alright, that's very slow. Why is that very slow? I just have one of those nights where everything just thought it was going to go fine. It's cool. I don't need progress. Well, it's all good. Alright. Of course, this is the part that couldn't have happened while I was down. No. I had a nice little discussion about things and progress and expectations. But nope, once I'm back online, it's just Catherine dorks around with a piece of thread. Thanks for liking and subscribing. No, it's all good. If anything, I've learned that Twitch is delightfully unpredictable, and that's just in the best way how it goes, and I wouldn't trade it, even if it is a learning curve and an experience. But really, it's just kind of this delightful improv where you just have to figure out what you're doing in the moment. And sometimes that's talking to yourself about thread. It's cool. Alright. Well, we're making the world's slowest bobbin. My machine's been on the fritz, and I'm bummed about that because obviously, like, I care about my equipment, and I'm trying to learn not only like how to do what I do better as I get back into this, but also just like, you know, my machine. Like, this is an Elna Excellence 680, and I really like this machine. Like, I really like this machine. But I will be honest, most of the time I sew on my mom's machine, and so I don't know as much about this machine as I should have, because I just go and, you know, like, essentially go to my childhood machine. So even though I've had this machine for about 5 years now, I've probably only put about a year into it. Like I said, because normally I just go sew with my mom. So I'm trying, it's like one of my things that, like, I'm really trying to just use my equipment and learn just as much about it as I'm learning about myself, and all of that as we just kind of further everything. Like, you know, I don't make giant sweeping New Year's resolutions just personally, but what I do try to do is, you know, at least be in a different place at the end of the year than I was at the beginning. So for me, that focus is kind of on just growth, in the way of just, you know, knowing what I like and dislike, really at a kind of a base level, as I just kind of try and figure myself out again. So okay, putting in thread, putting in a bobbin, putting in a walking foot. All right, so this, just for comparison, is a walking foot. This is a regular foot. My mom's can do this while looking like this. So sometimes I forget to put this on. And then also just, I don't know, shout out to anybody with ADHD, but like, if it takes another step, sometimes I forget it. And I like, especially when I learned one way, like, that's really what it comes down to. Like, if I learn how to do it one way, I'm going to do it that way. So I'm just unlearning. You must unlearn what you have learned and all that good stuff. So let's get some thread in this machine. This is very nice, 100% cotton quilting thread, so it should be absolutely perfect for quilting. Yeah, I like that. Ink Rabbit says in chat, today be the be the badass you wanted to be yesterday. Improve bit by bit every day. Now that's the thing. You know, there's always going to be good days. There's always going to be bad days. But like big picture, as long as like I like to just say I'm competing with myself. Like it's so easy to get to, you know, be like, oh, but look at them, they're already there, and look at her, she, you know, got this in such short a time. And it's like, you know, as long as I'm moving forward and growing and I'm not standing still, that, not say that's good enough, because obviously there's certain areas I, you know, need to push myself, but it's more just like I can't compete with anybody else but myself. So yeah, exactly. And that's a big goal of mine, is to like be the person I needed when I was younger. And so I know I love that, like be the badass you wanted to be yesterday. Like, that's good motivation. Okay, so I'm gonna actually, let's see. I'm gonna turn this off, just so we don't need it yet. Put it on the top of my head. This is the iron setup here, and then we've obviously got the machine and everything down here. So, thank you for coming back, everybody. I know that was a slight hiccup, and I apologize for that. Technical difficulties and all. So, what I'm going to do, we're gonna quilt the hood. Did I turn that off? Okay. So each piece, I like to think of this in terms of sandwiches. And so we're going to quilt one sandwich at a time and just take it nice, and slow. We're only going to stab ourselves with one pin, I say, as I've already stabbed myself like 6,000. And Kravitz says in chat, I have a daily habit goal list. I might do one yesterday, but if I do two today, that's an improvement. Yeah, right? Hey, improve. And that's the thing too, is like, I know that like routine is important, and I know that like goal setting is important, but also that just like, don't let one bad day slow you down. Don't let a bad 10 minutes soil your entire day. Just keep going. Even if you have to take some time off, just keep going when you can, you know, like it's unsustainable to just maybe to do it all at once or one a day. Like, I think about like every Inktober that I've like fallen off the wagon on, but like that didn't make me stop drawing. I just, you know. Okay, before I get started, I gotta go grab a piece for this machine. I'm not gonna bump anything this time, and maybe we'll stay online. So fingers crossed. Where is my piece that I need for my stuff? Aha. And we're back. Big piece. It's gonna be one of those nights where I thought I had everything ready and then just didn't. And I could let it stop me, because that would kind of be where I used to stop. Like, just get flustered about not having everything ready and then be like, come back to it. And now I'm like, meh, we're here. We figured it out. We're still chatting. We're still vibing. It's all good. I'm caught in my own headphones. It's just who I am now. Inkrabbit says, I think that's one cool thing about sewing. Hey, I have a few more stitches in today, right? Right? You know, every little bit. Okay, so speaking of sewing, we have, and I know I've got kind of a weird camera angle going on here. Let me shift that around. Maybe. Do I not have overhead only? Okay, just kidding. Still getting everything set up. Whatever, my face is just in the way, and that's just how we're going now. Never mind. Okay, so here I have my 3 layers. I have my hood pieces, which is the lining, the batting, and the outside. And what I'm doing is I'm basting. And if you wanted to be a little bit safer, you could baste with safety pins. Like, if I have a big piece like a quilt, I'm going to baste with safety pins, because I'm going to be rolling and shifting and probably, you know, accidentally stabbing myself. But on small enough pieces like this, I'm just going to baste with straight pins. Live dangerously. Basting, as delicious as it sounds, and this is the part of the project that always makes me hungry, because I'm like, let's make a quilt sandwich, let's baste it. And then I'm like, oh man, I want food. Basting is much like in turkey prep. It's part of the prep. You are pre-securing your 3 layers before you actually secure them. So in this case, just making sure that nothing shifts around, especially, you know, as much as I've kind of talked about that being a problem. When you baste, you just... Some people use glue, some people use pins, some people will actually like hand stitch some big old like chunky stitches in there. Like, whatever floats your boat, like at this point, like really I think that's one of the cool things about watching other people work is like, cool, that wouldn't have worked for me, but I love that it works for you. So do whatever feels the best. Oh man, I like totally dorked that. For me, it's just pins and just pinning every couple inches and calling it a day. Could I be more exacting in it? Yeah, probably, but do I need to be? Meh, hasn't messed me up that bad yet. So learning, I think that's one of the things about learning is like you learn how to do it like by the book, and then you learn like what you can get like not get away with in like a bad way, but like you learn where like you need to put in extra work and where you don't need to put in extra work. And honestly, like, I don't know whether it's chaotic of me to say that or not, like it's just learning what's worth it and learning what's like worth skipping. So I am rebasting this because I want to do this from the outside where the pretty stitches are going to be on top. And that pin is dull, so it gets sent to pin heck. When I have pins that are not going through my fabric like butter, they get sent to the craft zone. So I'll use them to like unclog glue bottles and, you know, not go through fabric anymore because they can snag. Like right now, luckily corduroy is so thick that it really doesn't matter. It's not going to hurt my corduroy, but I don't want to be sewing on something delicate like silk and have it just, you know, chonk a hole in it or something. So I'm going to run a quick test. So I'm just running a piece of junk through my machine, just scrap fabric here, just to make sure everything is aligned, because if it's gonna, like, I don't know, combust, I want to do it not on my project. So there's, scared me, didn't hurt myself, totally scared myself. That's what that jump was. So okay, and my auto thread cutter is down, which is a bummer. Ooh, see, don't know why I did that, but we're gonna, you know, it just, we're gonna try it one more time. It might have just been a fluke. So that delightful ka-chunk, ka-chunk, ka-chunk is the walking foot. So, oh no, we're good. Man, I've been storing my scissors on a magnet, and now, like, this happens. One of those solved one problem, created 37 more. Anyone else relate? Okay, I'm looking for one more piece, and then we can get started. This. I love sewing machines. I love specialized equipment, not for like the elitism of like, oh, do you even know what this is? More in the like geeky way of like, I know enough about my machine to be like, look, I get to use this dingle hopper. So this is a spacing bar. You put this in your machine, and I have to figure out where to put it with the walking foot, because normally I just jam it through. So at least I have this for demonstration. Normally this just kind of jams through, and then, hold on, jams through at a better angle than that in 2 seconds. Okay, so you jam it through at whatever measurement you want. So say I want to do like 2-inch quilting, I would like set where my needle is and then set this dingle hopper to be 2 inches away, and it allows me to like mirror my stitches. Now I got it jammed in the piece I'm not using. I've never used it with my walking foot, but I see, is that a hole I can jam it through? I ask suspiciously. Can I not use it with my walking foot? Oh no! Hold on, going in. Well, bananas. I can't use it with my walking foot. Alright, this is, again, what happens when you stitch live. That's fun. Normally, you would have this foot and you'd have your spacer, and say I was going to quilt on a grid, which was my entire plan, you could do a line of stitching, and then you offset it by your 2 inches, you do a line of stitching, and then voila! You rotate it at 90 degrees and grid. But I can't stick this through. Can I just, like, tape it to my machine? That's super professional and legit, right? It might resort to that. Man, I was so excited. I had like one plan. Oh well, it's cool. It's cool. Like I said, now y'all get to see just the utter chaos that is quilting. Welcome to me. Okay, so I'm just kind of lining up. Actually, can I? 1 second. I was gonna see if I could tilt my camera at all without like knocking it down. Hey, welcome to my cables. Population art. Okay. That's something. Where's my hand? Oh, that's this. Okay. Well, that's a little better. You can kind of see something. No, that's... Oh, this... Ah, that's my mic. Okay, cool. Well, we're just going to start. That's what's going to happen. We're going to get into this and figure it out. Figure it out later. Man, I don't know what to do about that. That's quite a bummer, actually. I had a system. And if you're wondering, well, why use the walking foot then if it's going to be a problem? That's what happened on my quilt coat. Part of it is I was using linen cut on the cross grain, and then I was using not the walking foot. So in a sewing machine, you have your top thread, you have your bottom thread, and they do this cool like loopy dolphin thing. It's pretty awesome. You have your feed, and they're called feed dogs, and it's essentially like straight gear notches that move your fabric along from the bottom, right? Which is great if you have just one piece of fabric, two pieces of fabric. So they're moving on the bottom, and then you've got your like normal foot, and it just kind of glides, and everything should feed at a good rate. Well, if you got something that's way too thick, you need like the feed from the top as well, so it kind of just feeds it along. Otherwise, your top layer can slip. So that's where the walking foot is like, because otherwise it slips around a lot. So like I said, knowing that I've had this problem, I purposely put the walking foot on. But now my thing won't thing, and that's thrown off my entire plan, because I was planning on quilting this on like a 2-inch grid, a 1.5 inch grid, probably 1.5 inch grid. But now I don't know how to do that. So we're just going to chunk along. That's why my bobbin was so slow. I have a feed shifter. That's the sigh of just, it's not a problem I can't overcome. It's just like, ah, cool, more problems. You know, anyone else feel that? I feel that in my soul. Okay, so now we've done one line of stitching. And it looks really, really nice. Really nice. See if actually the top cam can pick it up. So, ta-da! A line of stitching, a line of quilting. It's pretty. I just don't know how to, like, offset that. I'm just gonna keep creeping and... Oh, it has a thread cutter. That's neat. That's not handy right now, but... Do I just tape this? Any Elena users in chat? I feel like that's, like, the best feature of my machine, and now I can't use it. Because, yeah, normally you'd have it, and then you'd have this offset, and then you'd do. Oh, boy. I really can't shove that in there, can I? Ah! Quilting Koala to the rescue. Quilting Koala says, measure out 1.5 inches from the needle and lay a piece of tape on the floor of my machine. That definitely helps, at least for... some of them. When I get into the middle, they do the same thing at 3, 4.5, and 6. There we go. See, she already knew what my next conundrum was going to be. I'm going to go grab some tape. We got cute washi tape for this. Thank you. That's definitely one of those where it's like, okay, didn't foresee having that problem today, but at least we have a solution. So we're going to grab a ruler and we're going to measure. Okay. Cool, I was really hoping that would fit in my machine. Which way am I going to sew from? We'll do it this way. From the needle. Yeah, let's do 1.5 inches. So I want to do that. Probably overcomplicating this. What, me? No way. Now, luckily, this is going to be the quilting that I'm going to do the whole project on. So, like, this is now law. Yeah, like I said, gonna overcomplicate this. So just give me 2 seconds while I do that. What is straight? Go with 45. Okay. The good news is that, like I said, the 1.5 grid is now what we're going to be working with for the entirety of the project. So that's what it gets quilted on. Okay, that's 1.5. Another. Now I can work from this side. Put that at 1.5. Edge. Okay. And another 1.5. Okay. Hopefully I'll be able to see those. Let's give it a try. You can kind of see them here. We'll do one more. So I got washi tape for. Okay. Now I just have to remember for myself that the 1.5 is in the inside. So, slap myself in the face with the ruler. Critical step. Where's my piece? Oh, here it is. So now, if I line this up, it should do this. So the line goes with the line. Can I even see that? Am I making this harder on myself? Probably. Okay. It's alright. We're learning. We're learning. I'll do my best. I'm just bummed about that piece because, like I said, it's one of those where it's like it's not even about the math. It's not even about like having to come up with another solution. It's more just like I had a process, a tried and true process, and now it's like no, you didn't, and I'm just shaken in the way that like I'll recover, but like I wish I didn't have to because now my grid is definitely not gonna be as good just because I'm not doing it the way I normally do. So. And that first line wasn't that straight. Whoopsies. Just one of those where it's like, I know what I'm doing. Just, apparently I didn't. Apparently the universe said, nope, remake, redo it. Scrap that nonsense. I mean, that worked, but just not what I was used to. And that's where it's going to get hard in, like, the middle of the big pieces, is just trying to figure out where I am. Whereas, like, with that bar, no matter where you are, did I measure wrong? No? From inside to finished. From inside to okay. No, I can use a ruler. Congratulations to me. I love overthinking every detail. Just way overthinking. It's my favorite. It's my speciality. Goodness gracious. Everything just feels wrong now. Yeah, no, that's wrong. Ah! It's fine. It's cool. Okay. Inside is 3. So inside. No, that should still be on the inside. The tape is thick and it's confusing me. I need lines. It's okay. I'll just, all that taping I did, I'm just going to ignore it for the sake of using a straight edge. Probably mess with all of my basting. What am I doing? That doesn't look right. Nothing looks right. It's okay. Confidence is key. Yeah, it's something. Anyway, hopefully everyone else's projects are going much better. Not that this is going badly. It's just going in a wildly off the rails different direction than I planned. But that's life, right? I feel like that's definitely been the last 2 years. Okay, we'll just I wish I could feel the tape. Which pretend I know how to draw a straight line. Now, what I could do, and actually this might be worth it, I have a chalk pen somewhere, which I could use to make at least guidelines. Especially like if the tape stresses me out, it might be worth it to have some like chalk lines, because then I could just go in with a ruler and make my own grid. Like, if you can't make your own grid from scratch, store-bought is fine. I'll just make a grid. I'll just figure something else out with a different method. I feel like those aren't 1.5 inches. Let me get a ruler. Let me not have a breakdown over math. 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. All right, perception of reality is weird. Anybody else have that happen? I have a chalk pen and I'll find it. You know what? I think I know where I put it. And then I'll show that. You know what? We're just demonstrating lots of technique. That's all that's happening here. Hey, look at that. That's where I left it. All right, now this is I was trying to show that to my mic. I'm like, look, Mike, it's a pen. This is a chalk pen. It's got chalk and a little like wheel, and you just draw. So that's an option as well. If this ends up stressing me out to the point of like no return, which it may very well. Let's play a game called How Much Does It Take to Stress Catherine Out? The answer is not much. But it's fine. I also just know how to stubborn through things too. So, and that's who I am. All right, so let's try this. For a hot second, that looked like it was in metric, and I was like, why? All right, that was actually fairly straight. Go me. So you just kind of zip it along. Look at that. Like a proper tool. Look at that. Using the proper thing for the proper thing. Now this does come off quite quickly and easily, so you don't want to do like a whole bunch and then like rely on it and then mess it up. But you know, for something like this where I've got now two points of failure, like two ways to track these lines, I'm not leaning as like heavily on that. It's not all gonna go down the drain if I, you know, shift a little bit. So it's got a backup, as they say in the Octonauts. A backup gets you back out. And like really big picture, that's all we're kind of aiming for, is just did we make a good thing at the end of the day? Did we not drive ourselves to a literal like pit of insanity? Cool. Welcome to the Makers and Crafting channel on Twitch. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna put in a couple lines, and then this will just like allow me to like speed through this, so that'll be fun. And then you can see kind of a sneak preview. Like, look at that delicious grid. It's a grid! Hooray! Like, that shouldn't have been that much work. It's squares, but that's okay. That's okay. It's worth it for those fantastic like Princess Leia on Hoth quilted details. Yep, that's a square. I'm just going to do a couple more lines. Like I said, I don't want to, like, let my chalk get too, like, mangled and manhandled. But, you know. Oh, that makes a great noise. I hope you guys can hear that. Just this little, like, zip. as the little wheel goes. So that looks delightful. That's what I wanted. That's the feeling I wanted, was just this quilty grid. Very, not overcomplicated, but also like delightfully handmade. There's an aesthetic. I'm hoping that I'm getting it. Okay. Now there's chalk everywhere, but it's good. That means they're making progress. And a mess. Okay. Let's see how well I can follow a straight line. Well, in the best way, the machine like erased the chalk. So, if it's off, guess what? No one knows. In the like way that it sounds like a murder mystery, it's like, the secrets are in the seam allowance. Like, nobody knows because it's gone. Like, actually, if secrets in the seam allowance isn't already a niche, like, murder mystery / romance sewing novel, I'll write it. That just sounds like it should be. If anybody's read Secrets in the Seam Allowance, let me let me know in chat. Also, what this allows me to do is sew sew one up and sew one down, so that I'm not like skewing the whole thing. At least it's skewed evenly. Wow, I'll make that make sense in a second. Okay, so when you're sewing like this, I've got a lot of ups and downs, like it's going this way. You can see it. If I sewed them all going one way, it might start to like skew, but at least if I sew some like it might wiggle around and get messed up, but at least from like different directions, and it should come out evenly, like controlled chaos. That's all my life is. Bonk. Can't believe I forgot about the chalk pencil too. I was just busy being betrayed by my equipment. It's like, obviously when you're doing a shape that's not like square, you're gonna have long lines and short lines, and sometimes those little short lines are really satisfying because it's like, haha, and other times they're just annoying because you're like, really? I loaded up the whole machine just to do 2 inches. But now we're gonna do some horizontals. And this is really what's going to take the bulk of the time in this quilt coat. This quote is the quilting. Quilting takes a good hot minute, which is why quilts are so expensive. Is because like not only is all the patchwork like a heckin' a lot of work, but then you got to go through and like sew this whole thing like 12,000 times. So if you have a quilt, treasure it. They're a lot of work. Yes, two. Okay, so we're just gonna keep on kind of bounding along with this. Like, imagine that. The walking foot makes it nice. Proper equipment, working like a proper equipment should. Oh, it's so cute. So cute. Let me hold that up to the cam. You can kind of see it on the corduroy. Like, that's cute, but like, take a peek on the inside where we got that. Oh, well, actually the camera's not picking that up at all. Just kidding. Anyway, there's quilting there and it's cute. Oh, it's funny what the camera will and won't pick up, because I don't know. Now I'm bummed that it won't pick up, but that's okay. It'll read. So we just kind of keep doing grids. It can be a little bit tedious, but it's also just kind of delightfully repetitive in a way where you're making progress. Oh, it feels so good. It feels so cozy. Like, and that's another reason why your chalk glands might come out, is you might need to cuddle it to your face. And whoops. Oh well, I can still see them. Plus, they're, suggestions. These ones are definitely straighter than the first line I put down anyway, so if they're slightly off, it's because they're handmade. I give myself a lot of like self-deprecating flack for things not being perfect, but it's more so that like if I wanted exacting precision, I wouldn't be making it because I am only a human. It's more I want it to look nice and be worth the effort. I don't think anyone is going to come close enough to get out like, I don't know, a protractor and see if every single square is got a 90-degree corner. And honestly, if they are way too close to my kid and we got other problems. But more so like, it's fine in the best way. It doesn't have to be meticulously perfect for it to be loved. Like, honestly, it's going to be its own form of perfection in just the fact that it like clothes my kid, and that's amazing. But I know it's hard to get out of your own heads and be like, but I want it to be perfect. Well, of course I want it to be perfect, but it'll be perfect because it'll be something that like can be loved. It'll be perfect because it's something that like I made. It'll be perfect because it'll be a functional object that also like is art. But I know it's hard to get out of that. So I'm not like, I don't ever get like sloppy, but there is definitely like the balance between driving yourself absolutely mad over perfection, which I don't know if actually even exists, or just, getting it done. So putting in, I think I can fit one more. 1.5. Yeah, this chalk is nice. This is actually working. Imagine that. Cool. Oh, that's so pretty. And what's cool too is like the quilting in some ways takes away some of the puffiness and in some ways like accentuates the puffiness. So now I'm feeling pretty good about the decision to put the warm and natural batting in this. It feels nice. Man, there's so much chalk. I'm gonna have to clean my machine after this. Maybe, you know what? Maybe this was the project it needed right before it went into servicing, because now it's filthy. Whoops. I also gotta sneeze. Hold on. I'm also gonna blame the chalk for that. Alright, one more line, which, like, honestly is gonna get cut off, but I just don't feel right not doing it. So we're gonna do it. I'm trying to be better about that kind of thing, because like before I definitely would have been like, there's no way that'll show, I'll just cut it off, and then it will end up showing and I'll have to like fake it in later, and it's like, just do it while it's easy. Oh, that's so cute. So cute. It's so puffy and it has a stiffness. It's cute. Like, really, I hope you can see the quilting on that. I wish you could see it on this side. I don't know why the camera's not. Oh, there, it kind of, yeah, now it's picking it up. It's darling. I put the same thread in the top and in the bobbin, and it's just working. So that's one half of the hood, which is now where I wish I had the ability to duplicate. Like, powers that be, I wouldn't wish for like infinite power where I could just make anything. It's more like, if I've proven that I can do it once, can I just have it happen again? Like, I'll still put in the time to do it once. Look at that. Oh, it's like a quilt and a chocolate bar and all sorts of fun textile feels. All right, so we got to do another one, which again isn't a problem. It's more just like, oh, but we just did that. So I'm actually gonna stand up. I'll just stand up. You can see my sweater and my hair. I have a lot of hair. I'm gonna stand up and base this because my back was killing me. So let's be kind to our bodies while we make cool things. Now I might need to like, oops, why is that migrating? Okay. Put in a line of stitching and then come back and take out some of my basting, put in some of my lines, and then strategically pin. And that's another way you could do it too. You could put pin markers in at every, like, I don't know, a couple inches. So there's lots of ways you could do this. So let's just consider that a teaching moment and not a like, oh no, why is my tool still not doing the thing moment? Because sometimes that happens. Okay, so I want these to be mirrored as close as possible. Like, no one, again, is going to be looking that close, or they better not be. So I've just got 2 pieces, and I'm just going to run a couple chalk lines, again, just for the sake of running a couple chalk lines. And this first one's about 1/4, 3/4 inch in. Let's pretend like I knew what I was doing the first time. Yeah, about 3/4 inch in. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball and throw in a chalk line. And why did I start 3/4 of an inch in? Because sometimes, for all the preparation in the world, sometimes I just make things up. You just go with feels right. You're like, yeah, I'm a professional. I know enough. Goes back to that. I know enough to do stuff. I don't know everything. But I know enough to do enough. And that is enough. I am enough. So, there's your motivation for the day. We are enough. Okay, putting that on the half, putting that on the half, making sure I don't dork myself up by using the wrong line, because wouldn't that be a treat? Okay. Actually, this is working really well. So since I've got this out and my pins aren't horrendously in the way, like I can't get a perfect unbroken line, but it's not Beetlejuice I'm summoning. It doesn't have to be spoken unbroken. I'm just putting in a chalk line. Anyone else had like the entirety of the Beetlejuice musical like stuck in their head because of TikTok, or is that just me? Okay, just a couple more. Oops. See, that one I messed up, so I'm just gonna erase it. Like, that's what's cool about this, is it really just comes right off, for better or for worse. And then let's, you know what, I'm here. I might as well just mark them all. Like, hello. If you're just coming in on the stream, I apologize for the strange, camera angle. This is my hair, and this is my sweater, and we're making chalk lines. But the process is working, so we're not going to interrupt good progress for the sake of something like camera angles. No. Nah, more so I'll sit down in a second and it'll be fine. Welcome. Welcome on in. Okay. Let's do a horizontal just for, the sake of stuff. Where's that one? About there. Again, we're eyeballing. We are just straight eyeballing here. Trying to use the ruler to make sure things are, straight-ish. Big-ish there. Okay, cool. Let's get those verticals, and then we'll come back for those horizontals. Mostly just so I can sit down as well. Because as much as that was better for my back when I was doing all of the verticals, I'd like to see, I was going to say I'd like to see all your lovely faces, which I legitimately would like to, but more so, like, I'm not going to make you look at my, like, clavicle, and then this way I can see the chat again. So. Whee. Alright, everything's slightly to the left. That is okay. We're gonna operate on some big, as long as we do it the same way with every single seam, there's no wrong answer. Kind of like when you're baking. If you use the same thing for a cup, it doesn't matter if it's exactly a cup or not, as long as it's the cup, then it can't be wrong, right? That's big chaotic energy here is what's happening. So obviously this is worth the effort because it's the project I set out to do. But I think at this point you could very clearly see why the trend was actually to take like quilts that people found at thrift stores or quilts that were damaged and then cut them up and make these into jackets, because that saves a heck of a lot of time. Because in reality, we are making like a whole quilt worth of effort. We're just making it, you know, clothing shaped while we're doing it. But no, I have never quite lucked into a quilt at a thrift store. Now a lot of people were also taking like their own family heirloom quilts that maybe, say, like the bottom half got like burned or had, you know, insect or vermin damage or whatever, and so like as a quilt it wasn't like displayable as a whole. So instead of just like, you know, folding it strategically or whatever, they figured, why not? It's mine, I can cut it up. And I love that. I love giving new life to projects. I know it can be hard sometimes to see vintage things or antique things get destroyed, but like honestly, even if you had a quilt that wasn't damaged that you wanted to cut up, you're giving it new, as long as it's yours to do so, to do with what you need. You know, make yourself happy, do what you need to do. But no, I don't have any quilts that would be even big enough to cut up that would be interesting enough personally. So I would love to try that someday. Like if I come across a cool like thrift shop quilt, I'd love to just make a jacket out of it. And maybe after I have my own pattern, like for my body, developed, then it would be fun and easy and not nerve-wracking. But the point of that was more like, this is a lot of work, because this is now more work than the pattern like originally called for, because the pattern would just have you, you know, cut out these pieces and then make your lining, make your outer casing, and then quilt or jacket. But yeah, you can see that the quilting is going to take a while. It's going to take a hot second. Now this is what obviously makes a quilt coat a quilt coat. But yeah, it's a lot of extra effort here, but I'm enjoying it. This is obviously just one of those where it's like not necessary to make any jacket this way, but I don't know. Sometimes I like just putting in the maximum effort into things. So this is one of those big like, yep, we're gonna go just maximum effort, all the work. Haven't made anything haven't made clothing in a while and haven't made a quilt in a while. So why not just go like absolute, like just combine on both. And then I like wonder when I like see other creatives on TikTok and Instagram and Twitch and stuff, I'm like, wow, how can they get things finished? I'm like, because they stick with something that they like can do in their wheelhouse. Don't start 27 new projects, and when they're learning something, they don't jump in at like ridiculous level. They take it like, not like normal, because what's normal, but I don't know. I do this to myself is what I'm saying. It's absolutely just a heck of my own design, but meh, it is who I am. And it's not hurting anybody except myself. In the way that like I need a victory. I need to finish a project, and I pick hard things, and then I'm like, why can't I just like finish anything? And it's like, because I did this to myself. But oh well. Like I said, we're that's what 2022 is I'm finishing things. I mean, honestly, like that is what's been so amazing, and I will talk about this any chance I get because y'all are super cool. That's what's been great about like YouTube and Twitch is like just making things and having a community, and we all care about what everyone makes, and it's fantastic. Like I think, you know, if I'm just in my own head, in my own space, it's like, oh well, yeah, no one's expecting me to finish this because no one knows about it. And I love both the accountability and the community. Like I get really excited. Like I love seeing like, you know, one of my favorite content creators put up their work. I'm like, oh heck yeah, they finished X, Y, and Z. Like, oh, I was so excited for them. And like, I hope they know how excited their community is. And like when you all share your stuff in the Discord, or I get invited to your own Discords and we get to just like see what you're working on. It's like, oh, this is cool. This is good stuff. I've kind of taken that chalk line out with my big sleeves. We're gonna live dangerously and see what happens if I can follow it. If I squint, I can see it, kind of. put in some more lines. So that was everything we drew in. So like you can kind of get a sense of how long this takes. But it's coming along. We got all of our verticals, and now we're working on our horizontals. So it's pretty. I wish my table, or I wish this piece was just small enough that where it doesn't bend off the edges when I'm doing this. But I'll have to. Was that straight enough? Yeah, we'll split the difference on this next one. Whoopsies. Again, if I wanted perfection, I would need to find it elsewhere because I'm not perfect. Like I said, putting in more lines, trying to get the chalk to show up. I'm going like with the whales on this. Did I cut this the wrong way? No, I did. Okay. I'm good. I'm good. Just, you know, would it be a project of mine if I wasn't like halfway elbows deep in it? If I didn't like question every choice I've made up to now? I don't know. It would be nice to not do that. And I feel like if I got to the point where I was familiar, like, not that I'm unfamiliar with what I make. Like, obviously skills build, and that's very important. It's more just like even when I like ran Etsy shops and stuff, I never like picked one thing and went, okay, I'm just gonna like make this until I'm over it. And so I never developed like a full-on system for everything it was I wanted to do. I just kind of jump around a lot. And that is good and bad. It's allowed me a lot of like really neat opportunities, and I don't get bored. But on the other hand, I don't develop like anything but a make it work kind of scenario. And that's not always the best. But it's hard. I don't know. And that is a big part of like, why are we so askew? Like finding out that I do have ADHD and like kind of like learning about it myself. It's like, hey, this makes a lot of sense now. And it's not that I like want to force myself to like settle down and do one thing and only one thing. But like, you know, it still like, you know, shoots me in the foot from time to time. Like I had technical issues setting up today because I was switching around, because even in my streaming I do so many different things. But it's fun, and I don't know, I've got kind of a neat community that's rallied around that. And so like, I don't know, I don't want to change. I just would like to be more efficient at my chaos. Is that a thing that is possible? Can I be efficient at chaos? I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Look at this hood. And like, I know a good chunk of this we're gonna have to cut off because I did cut my pieces bigger. Kind of like I said, I'd rather have that safety net of knowing it's not gonna be completely wasted if it like shrinks up a little bit, because, you know, like I had that happen to my other coat. So like, I don't know, some things are just a learned response. Some things are just preventative. We do our best. So, there we go. But I know I'm gonna be really happy. Like, not to say regardless of how this turns out, because obviously, like, there's a pride that goes into when you're making things. You want them to be the best that you can do. But, like, this will all be worth it when I put it on Little Sprout, and I'm really excited for that. Okay, boop, and up. So we'll just keep on. Keep on going. So we got 3 more lines on this one, which isn't too bad. I mean, it really does go kind of quick once you get into it. But yeah, if anyone has any questions, I think I can sew a straight line that I've drawn out and answer questions. So let me know. Alright, so that's the 2 hood pieces. So now they're both like completely quilted, and let's see. Like it's subtle, which is kind of nice, but like it looks really intentional. Like it's not bright and crazy and obnoxious. It's more just like it looks intentional. I think I might have just used that word twice, trying to define my own feelings here, but more like I love the way that quilting can make things look really loved and really rustic really quickly, but I don't want it to look like you know, too frumpy or campy or anything. This just looks really, really intentional. I mean, you can buy fabric that is like pre-quilted like this for making outerwear because it just feels very cozy and very like very specific for this usage. Very like in genre, I guess would be one way to put it. But yeah, I'm checking them really quickly. There we go. Okay, so that's the hood pieces done. Now I think I'm going to wait just a hot second to trim these up. You can see how much extra, let me like really slap it over here. You can see how much extra I did end up with. It didn't shrink nearly as much as I thought it would. That's good. Like, yeah, there's a little bit of material waste, but now I have a little bit of extra play. And then this means, since I know that I'm going to be binding this on the top, if I want a thicker binding, I can kind of like custom cut this for the seam allowance. So that is the hood. Oh, that's so cute. I really, really like this. It's gonna be so cozy. It's gonna be so cozy. So let's sit that. Sorry, that was like really close to the camera. Let's just kind of keep going. I'm going to do the sleeves next, I think, but the sleeves need. This is why we have the iron out. So let me turn this back on. The sleeves need a little bit of sewing, like regular sewing first. So. So I'm going to separate my layers. I know I'd made like my quilt sandwich before, but I'm going back in to join that peekaboo cuff into the lining fabric. So that's just going to be a really quick, just straight stitch, nothing fancy. Progress, right? Yeah. So we're going to do that, and then we'll be cutting out this extra white. I know it's hard to see here. I had cut the lining completely in white and then decided to do the peekaboo cuff. So that's just what that is. I'll be cutting out this extra white and just, you know, using it as scrap. So there we go. Nice and easy. Trim that out real quick. And then iron it down. And then I can put this back as my quilt sandwich, so to say, and keep going. So. There we go. Okay, so when we take this, and now it's like one piece, but I gotta iron that. Look how cute that is. That's gonna be really fun. So I gotta set up the other one, so. Where's my other sleeve? I've got one. Aha, underneath, two. All right, there we go. So let me get that one just set up, same as the other. And get going going with that one as well. I'm really excited about the peekaboo cuff. I think, one, it's just clever, like when you are sewing for kids, to have the ability to have that little extra built in, because goodness gracious, they grow so fast. And then two, just like, oh, just like extra, and I love being extra. Anybody who knows me knows I am extra. It's just fun. It's okay. There we go. All right, so same thing, just adjusting for. It's about the same as I cut off the other one, right? When in doubt, yeah, it's close. And really, a lot of we already know, like I said, a lot of this is going to get trimmed out later, but it's just nice to have them, you know, vaguely even. There we go. Yes, machine? Okay. There's so much chalk. Tickling my nose. Okay. There we go. That's not on the iron and up. So we're going to press these. Ink Rabbit says in chat, I've always liked the cuffing jeans or jacket and it being a different pattern or something. Sorry, I could not read. But yes, no, I agree. I think it's just really cute, especially, yeah, on jeans. I think that is like one of the things the 90s did get right, was just like, I don't know, I'm looking at you, Oshkosh Bagosh, like you had cuffed everything. And it worked. It was cute, especially with like kids' clothes. Not that adults can't pull it off. Like, honestly, wear whatever makes you happy. It's more just like more opportunity for cute patterns, I think. Okay, so if you can kind of see on the ironing board here, let me scoot. I'm just going to be pressing these seams, so I'm going to be really careful with my iron cord. I'm just going to press these open, and I'm going to press them to the dark side. So that means I'm going to take all of my seams and press it to where it's not going to show through the white. It's just a neat little, like, trick. I could also press them open, which is where you take, like, you just kind of hold this open and go 1 to 1. But nah. But yes. No, I'm going to be quilting. Maybe I will do that. All right, we're going to press it open. We're just going to decide on the fly because, you know, why not? So obviously, like, watch your fingers. Just be really careful. Gonna press that open. Come on. Because I already pressed it. It doesn't want to work for me. I've also got a weird camera set up, which is what it is. And then I'm just going to give this whole thing just a nice press because, you know, it was a little wrinkly, and then it'll quilt better if it's just not got, you know, big wrinkles. So one of those, do a little work now to hopefully not have to do more work later kind of steps. So I actually really quite like ironing. I just, you know, it's one of those where it's most often comes at a time where I don't want to stop and like get up. And that's like, you never want to iron your clothes when they like need to be ironed, like right before an event or anything. It's more just like, I like ironing on weird off times that isn't conducive to, you know. No worries. I was worried that I lost everybody after the stream went down for a second, so I'm glad to see a lot of names come back. So thank you so much again, as always, for being here, for checking out the stream, for watching the progress. That is just all hair on that cam. Sorry. Again, just press that nice and open. It'll lay flatter that way. Like, you kind of have to decide what's worth the effort, honestly, because sometimes pressing your seams open can be a little tricky. But I think it'll ultimately be better because it'll lay flatter in my quilting. So we're just going to do our best. Remembering that this is, in fact, the lining, so it does not have to be perfect. But I want it to be comfy, too. Like, as somebody with just a lot of, like, sensory things. If my seams can just lay flat and not be in my way, that's always just a nice benefit. So there we go. Look at that. So crisp. So nice. And we'll turn this off. And it's like, yep, that was all we needed that for. All that moving around. Oh well. Good things take effort. Good things take time. Ink Rabbit says in chat, I always tell myself that I would iron my work clothes on Sunday versus the morning of. I'll have to make that a new 2022 habit. Right? Like, unless you're the type of person that loves to, like, wake up early and do that. Like, I've always been envious of my friends who, like, get up 3 hours before they need to be out of the house. And they, like, have time to watch TV in the mornings and, you know, do things and not be a rushed mess. And then every morning I'm like, okay, if it takes me exactly 13 minutes to get ready, when do I have to wake up? And then I wonder why I'm like this, you know? Oh well. But I would also have to learn how to sleep to be more of a morning person. I don't sleep a lot. Well, I don't words good. Like, why was that? What is going on? Okay. I feel like that's shifted. I need a second with this. I don't want to lose all that cuff. What are we doing? I gotta move the iron. All right. So I needed to lay those out because, you know, inevitably there was just a little bit of like growth because I was making up the cuff as I went along. So that happens, and that's perfectly fine. It's more just I didn't want to waste all the cuff fabric because if I lined it up at the shoulder, then I'd lose quite a bit on my cuff. So I was repositioning it mostly to make sure that I can trim it when I'm all done and have it just be good. So it's good, all good, all good. So I'm just gonna, you know, stand up and down a couple times and baste these appropriately and maybe even draw on some chalk lines. I'm gonna see, because I'm working with white fabric, the chalk hack probably isn't gonna work as well here. So, you know, welcome to, hey, look, I made it work, and just kidding, that method's gone. Segment of the evening. So, you know, we're going to try some things. We are going to experiment. Need more pins. I left them all over here. Whoop. Enjoy the lo-fi music while I pin these out, but do I have the right? As long as I have enough fabric at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what happens here. Goodness, my hair is everywhere. Ouch. Okay, let's. All right, so we're taking this again. We're taking our chalk pen. I want to have the same... I'm never going to see it on that side. Oh, so when you're basting, you got to make sure that, like, it works from the front and the back, like it's smooth. Hopefully y'all can hear me. I know I'm a tad bit away from my mic. Show up, is it? All right, so we're gonna have to get creative, honestly, because guess what? White chalk on white fabric. This is gonna be fun. And then under the bright light of my machine, which just washes everything out, like that's gone. I'm kind of gonna sew dangerously by the indentations the chalk marker made, and see if this is a good idea. This is smart. Right? I can kind of see that. Welcome to the vision test part of the assignment. Goodness. And I may have to switch up strategies because, oh boy. Now I could use, because this is the inside, which I hate to have to sew from like inside out because it means my bobbin thread is on the bottom. And the bobbin thread should be fine. It should be exactly the same as the top, but I don't know. You can tell. You can tell. Especially when it decides to be off. Why did we mess up? Hold on, let me check everything else. No, you're fine. You're fine. What the heck? It's because you're right on my, like, outside, right where I want it to look good. I guess this is where we could use the tape line. We could go back to attempt numero uno. Inkrepit says in chat that our kid, Little Sprout, she is having a we don't feed her night, which is what we joke when it's like, no, I swear I fed her like second breakfast and 11 Z's. But yeah, she's going to tell you that she needs like 6 dinners, which is totally fine. Like, honestly, the fact that like she feels secure enough to ask us for more food, and we can provide that. And she's growing. Like, it's definitely, like, to me, that's huge and healthy, and I love that. But yeah, it's just one of those where it's like, especially like when it happens when we like go somewhere, and then all my kid does is ask for snacks. I'm like, I swear I take care of my child. I do. But nah, it's all good. It's all good. That's funny though. Okay, let's not sew this. I'm making up my own method. Whether it's how I'm gonna stab myself with 6,000 pins and work or not. Yeah, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. And of course I have 2 of these sleeves to do. Like, but at least I've like committed to it. Does anyone else feel like that? Where it's like, maybe if I hadn't done this grid on the hood already, I would just do something else and be lazy about it. But because like I've committed, I have like no choice but to just keep working. Or is that just the weird social pressure that I need to do things? Let me move these out of the way. Yeah, I don't love that one line of stitching, but we're just gonna keep going because I can always unpick, but if I get like hyperfixated on one line of stitching and don't keep going, then we're just gonna do one line all day. That's what's going to happen. And I can do more than that. So what I'm thinking is that like when I roll this, I can kind of like use the line underneath to see, and then I can just like unroll it. Like we big braining, right? That's big brain time. Maybe. Which is where like basting is really important, because the more that I'm manipulating this while it's like not quilted, the more that it could shift around. So that's where basting comes in, especially if you're gonna, I don't know, wing jangle this around a bit. Like, hopefully it won't shift too much. We'll be fine. It'll be fine. It's gonna be fine. There we go. That's 3 lines. I really want to read Ink Rabbit what you made Little Sprout for dinner, but I also really don't because I'm hungry. Like a couple people that I've joined their Discords, they have like meal sharing ideas, and I'm like, oh no, that's super great, and we should all be like, you know, healthy about eating, and like obviously sharing ideas is great, but on the other hand, like I can't look because I'm gonna want that. Had chicken, asparagus, rice for dinner, a tray with Gouda, spinach, walnuts, and now some granola. Trying to go to bed before she gets hungry again. You know what? If she's growing, she's growing. But yeah, no, also sleep is good. Sleep is good. I feel that. It's probably getting late. Oh yeah, it is 9 o'clock already. No, that's valid. That's a valid parenting choice. I respect that. Alright. Alright, this is working. This is working. Oops, I got a pin upside down. Oh, because I basted it from the other side. You know, it's an adventure. There we go. So, of course, like, if this didn't show up on the blue, it's definitely not going to show up on the white, but I've done 4. Count them, 4 lines. And you can at least kind of see the texture if you can't see the lines themselves. But... Alright, well, thank you so much. I always appreciate, like, you know, you being in chat and looking at it. And I hope Little Sprout's excited, too. Like, obviously, this is for her, so I want her to be pumped. And yeah, it's really coming along. Like, this is one of those days where, like, when you're doing the pattern and you're doing all the planning, sometimes it feels like you're not getting anywhere. This is one of those days where it's like, there is progress being made. This is, like, real, for real life. So, thank you. Yeah, you can see where the light hits it, the texture, which in addition to the like structural integrity bit and the like whole, you know, just definition of quilt bit, it's mostly for the texture that I'm doing this. It's a huge part of this. So when it's doing the thing I want it to do, that is, it's good feels. So that's... Okay, there we go. Yeah, the rolling works. It just reminds me of Star Wars, where it's like, try spinning, that's a neat trick. Always a Star Wars quote. Always. And then what's nice about this, too, is I can check and see that, of course, the back's working perfectly. Like, my bobbin thread only misbehaves when I put it right on top. Otherwise, it's golden. Whatever. If it's working, it's working. That's so cute. You can, if I flip this over toward the lining, you can see the quilting quite, and that's really cute too. Like, you can definitely use quilting as a design element as well. Like, if I was confident in this and didn't have this super cute fabric that I would like dreamed of being the sleeves, like quilting with a bold thread like this is fun. It looks really good. Kind of really like it. And then part of me is like, aw, kind of wish that was the outside, but I really like this fabric too. So for the next project, actually that's kind of what I wanted on my quilt coat when I was making the one for myself, was the quilting to really be a design element. But then it gave me a lot of hassle, and so it just is we might restart, and I might make some bolder choices, kind of emboldened by progress on this. Which really, is that not what we do? We learn. We learn. I mean, honestly, if I could, like, that's just kind of how these things go. You get 1% better on every project that you do, so eventually I'll level up to be, you know, decently passable in a decent amount of skills. Right? That sounds good. All right, oh, it's looking so cute. Okay, I think I can take the rest of these pins out because we're just kind of at that point where it's not going to go away too much. Not going to shift too much. It's so darling, though. Okay, so we're just kind of rolling from the bottom here, and just kind of using it as a guideline. And I'm just going fast enough that, like, I can't veer wildly off course if I don't look for a second, but, like, not so slow that it's, like, not fluid, you know? Like, there's that medium speed where you're like, that's a line, that's good. It's not like, you know, graceful and or something. Okay, and I'm probably going to run out of bobbin thread here in a second, which happens. I'm actually kind of surprised I got this many pieces out of it, but, you know, don't tell my bobbin because then I'll definitely run out. You know, I'm wondering, and not just because I'm feeling lazy. No, never mind. I was going to say, I kind of like just the straight lines on the sleeve. It's got a certain look to it, but with a quilt, there's a math. There is a specific number where you have to have it quilted every Y inches in one direction and every in the same in the other, like on the axis. So like if it's a 4-inch square, you can get away with open areas that are 4x4. Well, I've done a 1.5 inch grid, but technically I've got like uninterrupted areas that are 20 inches long. So I should put in a couple horizontal, but I don't know. I kind of want to go in and do a line in the middle of these instead. Because I like the vertical. It just mixes it up a little bit. Like, the grid is cute on the hood, but I kind of like the vertical, because then if I do the grid on the body, then the sleeves are different. And I kind of like that idea. I say, of course, now that I'm, like, into it. It's about the same amount of quilting. I just kind of want to go in the middle. I don't know. It's a tricky one. Yeah, let's just go for it, right? We're just gonna freehand this too. You can kind of tell by the sound that I went to like ramming speed there. Was fun. Okay, because I have two very distinct guidelines, I felt comfortable going a lot faster. Oh, that's so cute. Yep, we're doing that. We're doing that. That maintains the structural integrity, but like really gives it a certain feel. All right, let's do that. 16,000 more times. Whee! Yeah, that's delightful. Hopefully that sounds as good on, your end as it does on mine, because it just sounds like I'm going to space, which is kind of fun. So yeah, you can see the lines there. I really just, I like that. I like that. It's got a feel. Don't know what it's reminding me of, but it's reminding me of something, and I like it. So. Okay, I'm just gonna tighten up my foot. My walking foot loves to just wiggle loose, which is an extra bonus. And what I probably should have done, you know, like a smart person, is you know, done the oopsie, I ran a bobbin thread way back there. Sad face. Okay, what I probably should have done is you know, gotten the one sleeve to the same level and then decided if I wanted to double quilt it before like just putting in, I don't know, 200% on one sleeve and 0 on the other. But I don't know, I'm the kind of person where I'm like, well, if I just do it on one, then I force myself to do it on the other. That's smart and how things work, right? So because I ran out of bobbin thread, I've got to tie a little knot on the inside here. That's what I'm doing. Just a little tiny square knot, little bitty, the tiniest of square knots, and then I'm going to snip that off real close, and then I can just pick back up once I make another bobbin. So yeah, I have one sleeve 200% quilted and the other 0, but I love it. Like, look how cute that is. It's really lovely. You can see exactly where my line just and pooped out. So okay. So I do have a little bit of thread left on this, but this was where I was making my first bobbin, and it decided to break on me, because sometimes that happens. So let me just slap my hand cam a couple times for luck, or face cam for luck, and then let's run a bobbin. See up here, I'm just taking the thread over to this little bobbin winding station, where I have this beautiful Sharpie line telling me what to do, because even though this is my machine, goodness knows, sometimes I forget what direction to wind this in. And that's one of the things I'm learning too, is to be, you know, just kind to myself about things like that. Like, yeah, maybe not everyone needs a mark, but on the other hand, like, why are we not working? You know, I can just make things easier on myself and not have it be difficult. Ah, that's a good sound too. I like that sound. So pretty much what I'm doing, if you're unfamiliar with winding of bobbins, is I am taking my top thread and making myself a miniature spool to go in the bottom of my machine. So, because sewing does it, they loop, they boop, 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 boop. If you haven't seen how a sewing machine works, you should look it up. Not just because, like, I think it's cool and I'm a geek about sewing machines, but it really is, like, fascinating because it ties into just how all of our clothes are made and how just humans... Cool, somebody's car alarm's going off. Humans invent neat things, like who... Oops, I'm pulling it from the wrong direction. Humans are cool. We invent things, as I, like, can't even pull my thread through the sewing machine correctly. But no, we have invented some pretty neat stuff, and it's just cool to appreciate. Like, if you haven't appreciated just the people who made things, you know, the things that we use every day, it's just kind of fun to do that. Plus, I don't know, I think that's just something, like, intrinsically geeky, where we like to know how everything works so we can take it apart. There we go. All right, so there we have it. I'm not going to start in the middle with an untested bobbin, so I'm bringing back my scrap. As always, just to make sure, because if it's going to dork up now... Alright, cool. Looks like where it's working. Alright, so right back in to where we were. I'm just going to put that needle down right where I was. Tie myself a knot. Tie myself a knot, and keep going. Keep zooming. Ready, zoom, let's go to space. Maybe not that much space. That started shaking my table, that was kind of fun. Snip. Now we're just going to double check on both sides that that was in fact fine. Pull our threads all the way to the back, tie it off. Excuse me. Sneeze and continue. Very important steps. Whoops. Okay. There we go. I know how to tie a square knot. There we go. All right, so yeah, this... Now, if I was using this side as the outside, and my bobbin thread had run out, I probably would have just unpicked that bit, because you can see there's a bit of a knot. And again, if that was like the feature, the main thing, I probably wouldn't want that to be on the outside, but because it's on the inside and it's structurally sound, it's staying. Just, you know, one of those, like, see where it's worth the effort of unpicking versus me. It's all good. So again... Zoom. Okay. Keep getting magnet pins. Which, yes, I should have a pin cushion, but it's over there. And I'm on a roll. It looks so good, though. Look at that sleeve. And that'll help it move, too. One of the things that's, like, lovely about quilted things is the thread... Where you've quilted it, it bends and moves differently than unquilted fabric. And so this is going to get softer and just really take on a nice look and feel. There you go. Which I really like. Like I was showing when I had the quilt out earlier, there's just something about quilted things that just look good and feel good. But yeah, it'll just also, they move differently. Apparently that piece of tape decided it's done. So there's some washi tape. There we go. Okay. Almost done, and then we can, you know, do the other one. So that'll be the hood and the sleeves quilted, which isn't a oh, I thought the thread was doing something weird. It was just the pattern. It's a decent amount of progress. Like just the sheer amount of quilting that's like in this sleeve alone is a lot. Like I really encourage you, especially if you're just kind of hearing these terms and quilting along for like the first time, like go look at something that is quilted and, you know, see if it's quilted every 2 inches, every 4 inches, every 6, every 1, because then it really just shows how many like lines and hours that somebody put into it, which is, you know, it's a lot of love. Like, it's a lot of love. And I'm finding that I am a bit of an over quilter. For its structural integrity, it does not need to be quilted this often. The batting that I'm using is pretty set. It's not very delicate. I just really like quilted stuff, and I'm kind of the person where I'm like, I don't know, I haven't made enough quilt tops, so if I actually have something to quilt, I'm gonna quilt it, you know, which is a little silly. Maybe I should just make more quilts, but I don't know. I figure if I'm enjoying the process right now, there's not really any harm in that. And you can't like ruin a quilt by over quilting it. It's just it's called density. So I'm just a very dense quilter. So there's one more line where, again, it's kind of where it's probably going to get cut off, but I feel like I need to quilt it anyway, just for completion's sake. I'm not a completionist, except for when I am. And we're just going to have to eyeball that one. So here's to eyeballing. There we go. Cool. So now I'm going to get the other one set up, now that, like I said, I've very densely quilted this one, but I don't know, I love it. It's going to be cozy, it's going to just help it move, it's going to soften it up faster in a lot of ways. And it's cute. I like it. So I'm going to set that there so you can see it. It looks cute in the cuff part too. That came out really nicely. So the other sleeve I put down here. I'll go diving for it. I did not baste it, so I gotta get up and baste it. So we're just gonna do that again. Now that I've put the finished one in the place that I need for this one. Oh well. Now you can see it. Pretty. See how it's already getting like rumply? Like, oh, that's the good stuff. That's what I really like. It's cozy. It like breaks it in before, like, just breaks it in early. And then it's extra comfy. Okay, fabric. So there is a right and a left sleeve. That's what I'm trying to make sure I have. There we go. Okay. That was backwards. Gotta grab a bunch of pins. Cool. Just kind of sneaking in on my pins here. I don't know why my one camera kind of seems to be going out, so let's just see what happens.